Hello everyone, this is Zola and I'm back like a migrating kestrel. And today I am going to be showing you how to fake the super slow motion effect, which you will probably have seen all over Sky adverts. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure half of these have been done in the technique, with the technique that I'm going to show you, because half of these films were not shot at those high resolutions, I don't think. And so yeah, I mean, some of these might be, some of these might not. I think the whole idea behind this is you're never quite sure. So yeah, let's just get into it, to be honest. I've had a go at this. I'm not going to lie, it's not great. Made this in an hour or so. We've got number 7 here, R7. And he's kicking the ball, the ball's moving, stuff's flashing in the background's moving, bit of parallax movement. And yeah, it's not great, to be honest, but I only had an hour. Been very busy cleaning out most of the junk which is on my computer, and I got rid of 500 gigabytes, which is pretty huge. I either deleted or just archived it onto externals, so I'm quite happy with that. Things are running a lot smoother. Okay, so let's have a look. This effect was created with these pictures. We've got a kind of field, it's a rugby field. So yeah, kind of duped you on that one. Got a football here, and I've gone in and masked out the tick because I don't want any copyright issues, and also I think one tick on each screen will be enough, as Mr. Ronaldo has one on his shot. And so that's the Ronaldo picture, and it's quite high resolution as well. Now, basically, since this is a very time-consuming effect, especially when you start getting in with the puppet tool, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So what I'm going to do is just keep jumping back and forth between the actual composition I used and showing you how I made stuff in it. So, I mean, the first thing I did was, when you bring the Ronaldo picture in, you'll realize that once you scale it down, you don't have much to play with on the sides here. So start with a picture of Ronaldo, brought him in with the C, press C, or select your tool there for your crop tool. Drag these handles, hold Option or Alt, depending on what OS you're using. Hit Enter, so now we have the borders to play with. We're going to go to Clone Stamp, which is here, Clone Stamp tool. Hit Alt, and now you'll see this little crosshair, and just click anywhere you want to use it. As you can see, we're now basically painting with this information here, and as you can see, if I go to bar, I'm going to get his leg. But yeah, I mean, then select the other side, and that's basically how I did it. You'll see the one I used, it wasn't particularly well done. As you can see, I even have a phantom leg coming on through on the left. Now, first thing we're going to do is separate the player from the floor. So I'm going to select with this rectangle tool. I'm going to hold spacebar to kind of adjust the height. Probably, I don't really want his shoe in, so I'm going to take that out, but something like that will do. And I'm actually going to extend these sideways because I'm going to feather this a bit. So as you can see, I've pressed F to bring the feather command up, and I'm just going to feather that off a bit. And now I'm going to go into here, press G, select the points here, and you can see my pen tool has changed to plus command, and I'm going to change the colour of this mask by double clicking here, as you can't really see what's going on. There we go. Press V, and I'm just going to bring this down, probably create a couple more here and here, just so that I can't see his foot. Great, I'm going to call this grass, and I'm going to bring the same layer in. In fact, now I'm just going to duplicate it, and on this one I'm going to call this player. Obviously it doesn't have to be a treacherous old Manchester United player, it could be a basketball player, or even, you know, a wild bullfrog. Now I'm going to press G to bring my pen tool up again, and this time I am going to, in incredibly rash and feverish motion, I'm going to separate him from the background. And for the person who left a message on my YouTube, thank you very much, asking how to separate any kind of thing from the foreground, from the background, this is how you do it, and then you can apply different effects to different parts of the picture, which is what we're going to be doing here. And that has took me all of 20 seconds. And I'm going to leave the ball out of this for good reason. So there we go, and then come back to the original one. So we have the player really badly masked out, and I'm going to press once again feather, probably feather this by 10 pixels. You have to remember the original kind of composition for this guy was 4000 pixels, which is why 10 is not really showing up too much, but it's just enough to soften the player. Now I'm going to bring the picture of the crowd in here, and actually before I'm going to hit G again. I'm actually going to zoom in here and just select the area between his shin pads. You know, we need to be thorough here. Go to the mask here, we've created a new mask, select subtract. And so now we have a gap, and once again I'm probably going to feather that out. Probably not as much, maybe 5 pixels will do. Okay, so press command minus, come back out. So obviously he's not really sitting right on this picture yet, but if I move this, I think I used something like this, maybe this area, maybe brought it down a bit. Yeah, so it's something like that. Let's have a look. Yeah, probably even lower, you see. Just do whatever looks right. I mean, it depends on the pictures you're using. Now obviously this doesn't look as it's sitting properly, so I'm going to go to Effect, Blur, and Fast Blur. Blur that out, and now we have it blurred out. Tick repeat edge pixels, and so now you have the player and the background, and that's looking a lot nicer than it was a couple of minutes ago. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring our football in. Once again, this thing is going to be huge, so I'm going to drop this down to a scale of 9%, which is what I used, and I'm going to bring the football above the player. And we're going to be placing it more towards the side of his leg. And to start our keyframing animation, I'm going to click and make a keyframe at the start of the animation, and towards the end I'm going to move the ball probably about that much. Not a great deal, but obviously we're faking really slow motion. So I'm also going to press R to bring up the rotation, make a keyframe, go to the end, and maybe rotate it just a bit. Okay, so obviously that's not really looking like anything at the moment. Now I'm going to select the player layer. Hey, that rhymes. And I'm going to click the puppet tool, and I'm going to start poking him in the head, which I have worryingly imagined far too often since he left us. But it's okay though, we got Michael Owen. Brilliant stuff. Right. And basically each of these points is just going to be like a hinge on a kind of cardboard cutout. If you imagine it like that, then you shouldn't be too far wrong off imagining how this is going to move. And if I hit U now to bring up all the keyframed properties on this layer, you'll see that we have created 16 points here, and they're all already keyframed, which is incredibly useful. Now I'm going to go to the end, and if I press V, I can start moving these points around. Now this is the part I was on about, where it's going to be really slow. So we don't want a great deal of movement, and obviously I'm doing this at incredibly fast speed, which means, as you can see, this is affecting this area, so I'm going to pull back on this. And for this particular shot, I would probably even, I think I did, I can't actually remember, I separated out the layer by duplicating this player layer and then masking out just the leg, so that I have independent control of this leg, as opposed to the rest of the what is now a mesh essentially. So I'm going to move his head up a bit, move his back, and obviously if you have the actual video that you're trying to fake, that's even better, because you know how his body is going to react to the motion. And if I play this at one crappy motion, you see, look how slow this is. This is the reason why I created it earlier on. But basically that's going to come out and you're going to have something like this. And as you can see, I've also had a bit of a parallax effect, the kind of camera moving. And in this case I literally just keyframed the position of the background. So if I hide this layer, as this is the one. So we had the ball moving and I literally selected the position and just move it slightly one way. And I also moved the player in the other direction just to kind of sell that effect. And yeah, if you want to be clever, once again this is going to slow down your render times, but what you want to do is go to Layer, New, Camera, create camera, and make all these layers 3D, and then push your crowd picture. If you press P here, and untick that keyframe and push it back into space, just so that After Effects now realizes that this layer is physically in the background. And then if you use your C, your camera controls, you can see that just that bit of extra kind of in the background, by pushing that into the background, you can now also sell a kind of slightly rotated effect, which you can obviously once again keyframe. And I wouldn't turn too much, because obviously at some point you start to realize that there's something funny going on here. So yeah, like I said, I haven't done that here, but you can do that. And obviously, what else have we got going on here? We got flashes, and these flashes are all going off feverishly in the background, and these flashes are nothing more than black solids with, if you type flare in the left, the lens flare effect, I've centered it 50 prime, scaled it down to about that much, and literally over, if you hit U here, bring up our animated properties, I've literally keyframed it from nothing to bright to nothing again, and then hit Option close bracket to close the layer at this point. And then I've got loads of these basically flashing, and I've changed the transfer mode to add, so that's creating the flashing bulbs in the background. And then last but not least, I did this, basically I rendered all that out because it was really going slowly. As you can see, I've got little pieces of grass here flying off, and I literally just painted those in Photoshop. If you even have a grass brush, I mean, come on, Photoshop is making it as easy as you want. I did not use that, I literally just something like this, because they're going to be very small in the end. So as you can see, now that I've pointed them out, you're looking at them thinking, well, actually that does not look like grass. But you know, you might not have noticed that. If not, and if you have the time, you can literally cut out little pieces of grass and once again animate the position of them as they move. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. Obviously we've used a combination of simple keyframing moves. We've used the puppet tool to deform the mesh, which is kind of making the player move. And obviously the less movement you have, the more realistic and slow motion it's going to look. I should have probably had a lot more flares going off, because in a second a flare, obviously light travels at incredible speeds, and these shouldn't really be scaling up that slowly. They should be literally like just banging on. And I've also keyframed the exposure here on the picture. As you can see, it's slightly flashing, just to fake the kind of flashing which is going on with the lights. So as you can see, the kind of whole thing is flashing. And last but not least, I've added a vignette, and if you don't know how to do that, it's as simple as making a new solid black and then selecting the ellipse tool to mask, double click up here. As you can see, you need to invert it and then feather it out, and then you can play with the opacity. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this week. It's been I've really tried to go through it as fast as I can. It's a slow effect to build, but I think you can come out with some really cool results. So if you make one, post it in the comments, then that'd be awesome. Once again, thanks for watching. I've been Zola, and have a good evening.